This really needs to be cleaned. So I'd be better off with mineral spirits, but I don't have any, so I have a lacquer thinner. I have to be very careful with that, especially this stuff. It's high strength. It's a solvent and cleaner. And I just don't want to go overboard because I don't want it to melt the rubber that these rubber wheels are made of. These aren't too dirty, but you can't use a wire brush on them because that'll gouge them up and possibly lead the blade in the wrong direction. And by the way, as long as I'm talking about the blade and direction, the blade gullets need to be in the center of this wheel. So they need to be back, not the whole blade isn't centered, but the gullets are centered on this, and that makes it run perfectly. So I don't know if you can see that, but it is coming off. So this is what the wheel should look like when it's clean. And I'll do the bottom one and show you what that looks like when it's dirty, but you can see if you touch it, you can feel that it doesn't have any bumps on it anymore. So I'll show you what it looks like on the bottom one. Right here. Open this up. No, here, let me show it to you from the top, and you can see all that gunk. That's basically what we're removing. And again, no wire brushes because it'll damage the rubber. You don't want to do that. You just want to remove that junk. And what I found is the lacquer thinner loosens it, and you can kind of just rub it hard or scrape it slightly with your fingernail underneath the rag here. A rag. So I'm getting this off. Again, using the lacquer thinner. And it's pretty effective. And they say mineral spirits, like I said earlier, but just got to be careful if you're using this stuff, because lacquer thinner will melt rubber. You don't want to do that. It's kind of dark. It's probably taken some of the rubber off, but probably not that much that it'll be a deterrent. And it actually may take the stuff off more quickly. With the lacquer thinner. Now this is stuck on a lot more, probably because the bandsaw goes down and it hits the blade itself, which is over there, and drags the sap down onto this blade. And it's basically sap that comes from the wood. And, you know, depending on the seasoning of the just had to move that guide. Anyway, depending on the seasoning of the wood, it may have more sap in it. And what kind of wood? I mean, pine just has a lot of sap in it. And I don't know if that ever goes away, even when it's dry. I mean, I think it's less, but it still may be there. So I'm hoping that this will help me get the bandsaw I'm using here, which is a Grizzly 605, I believe. It's a Grizzly 0555. It's like a 1 horsepower, I believe. It's a 14-inch bandsaw. Yep, the motor is only a single horsepower. So, you know, it's not that aggressive. It's not that powerful. But, you know, I just have to take my time when I'm ripping something or whatever I'm doing. With a small enough blade, like an 1/8 inch blade, I can use this like a scroll saw in many cases. It doesn't do the fine work that a scroll saw will do, but it can do a lot of work like a scroll saw. And of course, this is a standalone model, but they do have models that are tabletop. I don't know if Grizzly has tabletop models, but there are some. I've seen them at Lowe's and Home Depot, and maybe that's a good one to start out with. Nevertheless, maintenance is extremely important, and honestly, I don't really do it enough. I should do it more. And actually, this is not that bad. This buildup is not that bad. Okay, I'm gonna get a new paper towel. And these don't fall apart like, I'm gonna double fold it, triple fold it. These don't fall apart like paper towel does. Paper towel, you know, if you're going over something, it might not be a problem with this because it's smooth, but it can be a problem. And I don't really need to do the touchy-feely thing like I did on the top, because I can see what this is doing. That stuff is on there good. Just trying to hold that blade so it doesn't work against me. And not the blade, I'm sorry, the wheel. I could stick something in the top wheel to stop it. There's no locking mechanism with this particular bandsaw. I don't know if any bandsaw has a locking mechanism. I think that would really potentially cause a problem if it locked. Anybody know of one that locks? Put it in the comments below, because others may be interested in that feature, and I don't know if they do that at all. I know that my lathe locks. I have a robust lathe, which I will be doing some videos on that, so you can kind of see how that one works, and that's a pretty nice tool. Just going to put a little more lacquer thinner on this, just so it's nice and wet. I have not done this in quite some time, and I I think this stuff is dried on there quite firmly. But it's coming off. And probably some of the rubber is too. Now if this doesn't work, I'll just buy new rubber wheels or tires. I don't know what they're referred to. I don't, anybody know? Put it in the comments. Rubber something. They might be called rubber wheels. But I think they sit in a groove on the wheel here. Looks to me like it's in a groove. And we'll just see how that works. I'm gonna add some more lacquer thinner. So you can see it's come off on all of these areas nicely. And I did not take off the blade. I had the blade off earlier and I cleaned the blade. And when cleaning the blade, if you looked at the previous video, you could see that I used WD-40. So one of those oils that kind of works as a astringent, and also a steel brush. Yeah, that's a big chunk of something there. So one other thing I'm going to do before I test it out is add a little of this T9 rust and corrosion protection, to the iron table base. Now I put tape over this at one time, trying to test an idea. There's tape on this. See if I can get it off with this T111. Looks like it's coming off. If not, I can probably use some goof off. In fact, I think I'm going to need that. I can't tell you how old this bandsaw is, but okay, it's pretty windy here, and I have the garage door open because I'm expecting a delivery that I have to sign for. So I'm going to try some goof off on this. It appears to be